There's a couple of fundamental things happening. So first of all, Papua LNG, Steamships logistics businesses, and principally that's Consort and Pacific Towing, and a JBPS through the stevedoring side, investing in additional tugs and barges for the early stage works, and that will be 3 tug and barge sets in the beginning, and possibly more thereafter. And then there is supporting investment in Portside Business Park, and that should support our logistics operations for Total. So what Steamships has done in combination with GFS and the Gulf Provincial Government, we've launched a joint venture called Gulf Maritime Services, or GMS for short, and that will be our vehicle to help develop oil and gas opportunities, energy opportunities, and more broadly transport opportunities within the Gulf province. Then within the hospitality space, we're continuing to invest in our Enzo's brand. So we're rolling out additional outlets across Port Moresby. And then once we've got critical mass in Port Moresby, we'll move into Lae and then into Mount Hagen before we then go into the other centres around the country. On the hotel side, we've got some very significant upgrades coming on stream. The Grand Papua upgrades have already started, and then we'll roll those across the Highlander and the Bird of Paradise. But we're looking at new investments as well. First one, and the most significant one, is in Lae to rebuild the old Melanesian hotel. That project is on the cards for commencement later this year or early next year. And then lastly, within the properties, and this is the area where we're spending the most money, we have 3 very significant projects on hand. The first of which is the completion of Harbourside South. That will be a very significant increase in Grade A office space, retail, and the addition of the first Marriott in the country. We then have Portside Business Park. Then we have also approved Hagen's first large-scale mixed-use development. Portside Business Park is the first integrated business park in the country. Of course, there are other smaller business parks, but this is the first one that looks to integrate industrial, light industrial, commercial, retail, and accommodation services within one managed, secure environment. So our vision for it is over the next probably decade or so to develop it into a fully spec'd manufacturing, commercial, retail business park. We have started discussions with the government about making Portside Business Park an SEZ, but for us, the SEZ status is a nice to have rather than a necessity, because we're located so close to the international and domestic ports. This is infrastructure that is ideally suited to light-scale manufacturing, downstream processing, and just more broadly, the typical warehousing and depots that you'll find surrounding ports everywhere in the world. For Steamships, we've grown from being a small-scale investor to being one of Papua New Guinea's biggest investors. And so for us, where we can make a real difference are projects of scale. And when you've got projects of scale, you want to mitigate risk by broadening the type of business mix that you've got in there. Being able to attract both the commercial, the retail, industrial into a complex makes it more attractive for us as investors, but also increases the scale of the investment, and that's where we can differentiate. As PNG develops, as we become more interconnected with the global traveling marketplace, it's important for customers all around the world to be able to recognize brands. These new brands coming in give us an opportunity to invest in new products in the case of Marriott, and in the case of Radisson and the Grand Papua, expand the reach using their global networks to bring more business into PNG and also, of course, to capture more market share for ourselves. The Steamships in many ways is returning to the Highlands. So for us, we've got mixed-use development already in Mount Hagen, in Hagen Central, in the shopping centre there and the office blocks there. And we have an investment in the hotel and some other minor properties there as well. With the population growth of the Wagi Valley and the broader Highlands, with the development of agriculture and with the development of smaller scale business, the investment we've got there, which is a very large mixed-use development, will be several hundred million kinas worth of investment. We're still going through the detailed design process and then the contracting process. But we hope that detailed design will be completed by the end of third quarter and commence development early in 2024. It's 38,000 square meter, 2-story mixed-use development, BSP branch, fit to open very soon, and that is phase 1. We'll then have supermarkets, homeware centres, restaurants, facilities, more finance and government support services ready to go in there, probably within 18 months of breaking ground. Our investment in Highlands Central and in 1 year are both joint venture partnerships. Within Highlands Central, we're 50-50 with the Duckworth family of Taninga fame. So we are both foundation partners in 1 year Dobal. And in due course, we'll look to bring in more investors into that project.